I have one more question before I fly in. Can somebody will be just pushing my slides? Anyone? So can somebody just, push the slides? Benny, thanks. Perfect. Okay, so you see my name. My name is František Apfelbeck. Algoro is my nickname, which I'm starting to use more and more. I'm a member of Noisebridge, and that's the hackerspace in San Francisco, which I like very, very much. You can see the sign here. And currently, I'm also the member of 091 Labs in Ireland, in Galway, where I'm finishing my biotechnology degree, and I'm preparing for my way to Japan, but we will go through that later on. I'll try to talk a little bit slower because sometimes I speed up, so please, just wave if I'm going too fast. I would like to open the questions later on after the presentation, but if you feel really the urge, just ask me during. If I don't know the answer, yes? Oh, yes, so I understand, yeah, okay. Is it better? Yeah? No? So you need, okay, so you can see my mouth, yeah? All right? Good? Or not yet? Yeah? Okay. All right, so, slide, please. Live foods and beverages. We'll go through the basic concept. Live foods and beverages are composed of the probiotic microorganisms. Both yeast and bacteria, they basically digest probiotic fiber. We will explain that later on. They have very good and probiotic positive effects on your digestion, immunity system, and many, many other things. We'll go through the presentation. You should remember that humankind used them for thousands of years. Before, now, in the future, I believe they are going to be part of our lives. We have just a few examples: sauerkraut, yogurt, kombucha, beer, wine, etc. We will talk about that. Now, the road plan of the presentation will be quite simple. We will talk about the traditional beverages and live food, so you see what is it, because you will know some of them for sure. It's part of our culture and the culture of all around the world. We will go briefly through the human digestive system, so you can kind of better understand what is actually really happening inside of you, each of you, because this is very similar to all of us concerning the digestion. I will explain the concept or current concept and understanding of probiotic. What does it mean? The same prebiotic. After that, we will just briefly touch the enzymes, so you can actually understand what happens really on the spot, what the bacteria and yeast basically use to be able to prosper, let's say. And, okay, of course, after that we will go through the importance of live foods in your daily life. And the last will be my involvement in the hacker movement and why I think the live foods, beverages, slow food should become a stronger player in the hacker movement in general. Can you, Benny? Okay, so traditional live foods. You see quite nice list of many beer, wine, yogurt, kvass, whatever you like. They are fundamental for thousands of years for basically any culture around the world. Meaning that they would be not consumed just on a ritual occasions where you'll be celebrating or, for example, putting your Indian corn into the ground and actually drinking your last year harvest, like it is, for example, in Central America, in Chiapas, where you can drink in this way Atole de Agrio, wonderful drink. It will be more that you actually consume it on everyday basis, meaning that you really have your intake every day, and there are many reasons for that, which we will explain later on. This concept lasted for a long time, and it still lasts around the world, especially in, let's say, native communities which are not so much affected by our now global culture. And of course, in new centers which are actually new kind of creative spots of or shaping our global culture, partly hackerspaces. Second, no, I couldn't resist to this one. Just reasons for consumption, just few. Probiotic effects, what does it mean? I will mention it a few times so you kind of can get the grip on that. If you eat something, the idea in general, of course, is to enjoy it. It's very important to understand that actually the probiotic beverages or live foods and beverages should be delicious. At least that's my way. I don't like to suffer for my health. I don't like that. I'm sorry, you know. And I have found that you can do it. If you know how to do it well, it can be amazing experience. So, okay, it should taste, I think, fine. It should give you what the food and beverage or whatever you put in is supposed to deliver. Basically, it should allow you to survive and preferably prosper. One thing is a burger from McDonald's, you know, and other one is, for example, freshly harvested apple, you know, from the tree from your grandmother orchard. And, for example, turned into the cider. You know, kind of, you know, it has advantages. So it should give you the nutritions, energy, minerals, amino acid, etc., etc. It should really nourish you, make you stronger, happy. Psychology effect is really important. Back, if you can, Benny. Can you, if you manage? One back? Yeah, perfect. That's kind of my idea. I just measured, for example, the area in Chiapas, and you can see the kid, you know. This picture may be kind of funny to a degree. On the other hand, for example, the highest cause of deaths in Chiapas and many, many other countries around the world, especially developing countries, it's a digestive problem, especially with the kids. If they get strong inflammatory diarrhea, many times they die. On the other hand, if they have good food, and especially probiotic food, they keep quite pretty well. So, important part. Conservation of foods and beverages. If you have your milk just from the cow, it's great. I don't like to drink it, for example, many people do. However, it doesn't last too long, especially if you don't have refrigeration, in a warm country. If you, however, know how to make a cheese or yogurt, kefir, well, then you are set for a few days, few months, few years. And you can get actually the energy preserved in the time when it's around, for example, summer, and your cattle is on the pasture, for later on. That's how we did it for 1,000 years, you know. Let's say, for example, or Israelis, they were using, like many other countries, cheese for their armies to move around when they needed to be mobile and they need nutrition, which is really packed. We still do it. Unfortunately, again, for example, you know, in a burger, it's not having such a good effect as a really nice slice of Parmesan, etc. Intoxicating effects of, well, hard cider, wine, beer are very favorite, and you can see every day, for example, on the camp that they really work. So it's nice to have a brew, and if you have, for example, a brewing group or are a member of a brewing group, as I am, for example, in Ireland, just have an evening, invite friends, you know, and you share 5, 10 different brews of beers, ginger beer, elderflower wine, you know. It's great, especially if you remember it the next day. Can I? So, just a bit of info so you can kind of, you know, understand a bit better what I'm talking about. The digestive system or human gastrointestinal tract is composed or divided more or less by medicals, you know, to the upper part and lower part. The upper part, you know, you have the esophagus or your mouth, you know, you go to the esophagus, to the stomach and the duodenum. In your mouth, you physically crush the food. There are enzymes which basically join the process, start to break down the sugars, etc. You get your food into your stomach, where the hydrochloric acid and the movements of the stomach start to really kind of crush it on a small pieces. Smaller pieces, better. It moves later on through the duodenum to basically small intestine, where the majority of the digestion happens. That's the place where many enzymes really kind of crush down the food and you get back the nutrition. You probably know that hydrochloric acid, it's acid, so it's lowering the pH in your stomach. Later on, you need to increase the pH, by sodium bicarbonate, which is produced in the system, and after the digestion takes place. Very complex system, very good, very big, I would say, area of contact of food, which is from out of the space, meaning possibly loads of problems for the immunity system towards your blood system. So kind of very, very advanced filtration of what you need from what you don't want to have at all, meaning really bacteria or, different virus kind of, impact on your system. From small intestine, you move to the large intestine. Where are our friends, mostly? Here, you get back your water. Very important. If this doesn't happen, meaning, for example, diarrhea, you are in a big trouble if you cannot treat it, especially with the kids. This cannot really go fast, because if you cannot get your water back, you are really having serious issues. Of course, it's not so pleasant, that's other thing. In this moment, the microbes really play a very important role. There are bacteria and yeast, mostly bacteria, bifidobacteria and lactobacillus and lactobacterial kind of strains, which are feeding on already processed food, prebiotics, we will touch it later on, using it as their source of energy so they can live from them, multiply, and most of the time be symbiotic to us. Now, that's the basic concept. Can you hear me? Now, large intestine, just basic data which I have found on the wiki as usually, 1.5 meters, 16 hours of the digestive time to go for the food through your system. It can be fast or slow, depends on the people, on your status of your gastrointestinal or microbial flora, and also what you eat. So kind of fruit, for example, vegetables, they go quite pretty fast. Meat, fats, they will stay longer. And they are more heavy to digest. So it's a bit of strain. There are, of course, goblet cells, which are creating mucin, a special, basically, mushy substance, which is helping to move together with the peristaltic movements, the food through your system. You will have absorption of water. I have mentioned that. Nice part, the microbes are giving you, for example, different vitamins. Vitamins B, K, etc. They don't give you as much as you need, but the difference, if you don't have the vitamins at all, it's proven to be quite important. So kind of they will help you to last longer if you don't have a good source. Of course, large intestine is helping to get rid of all the kind of, elements which you digested or ingested out of your body because you don't need it basically anymore, so you need to get out, There are over 700 species of bacteria up to now cultivable, so you can really kind of cultivate them in the labs. Many of them are not described. Many of them we don't know if they are probiotic or not. But you can see just by the sheer number that's a big number. Really, it's kind of, that's some system, ecosystem. 700 species somewhere. As a biologist, that's quite pretty a lot. Okay, can I? Now, probiotics. This is the most updated definition of probiotics which I could find. Probiotics are defined viable microorganisms, sufficient amounts of which reach the intestine in an active state and thus exert positive health effects. Scientific classical definition, which we can go through. Yeah? Yeah, Benny, could you? Next one? Yeah. Effects of probiotics. You can read it through if you like. The basic ones are, at least for me, I have to say, improvement of immunity system. You really are much more healthy than most of the people, I would say, who have problems with digestion. I don't have a diarrhea, basically. I don't get, nearly any disease, I do other things like cold swimming, etc., so it's kind of combination. I'm trying to eat well, but this is really a big thing. I do it for now, I would say 5 to 6 years. I eat a lot of probiotics on everyday basis, drinking, really great thing. Immunity system, that's it. Certainly, the digestion by itself. For example, I don't even remember having a problem that kind of your stool and everything you are constipated. No, it's not a problem. It just goes through kind of perfect. And it's a big part of the day if you have these issues. So I certainly recommend, these foods for people who are having troubles with this. Allergies. Another kind of, research proving that really probiotics, if you have a strong kind of good symbiotic flora, you decrease the risk of allergies. And I will later on talk a little bit about the breast milk and the beginning really of the life of the kids, because that was something that it was really interesting to read kind of the impact of the breast milk on the health of the child compared to the substitutes. You can see a bit of additional info. If you ingest the bacteria, you have a number, which is great. I basically go, for example, with a breakfast where I make muesli, add my yogurt through it, and fine. I go for 2 hours. After that, I have another meal. Later on in the day, I would like my kombucha or kvass, or I do another probiotic beverage. If I can get hands on some sauerkraut, amazing, things like that. It's kind of 2-3 times per day. If I eat a bit of live foods, that keeps me going, and I'm happy. One thing that I should mention, maybe for the beginning, when I started with probiotics food, it was actually really the Kefir culture, which I started in close to San Francisco in California by the coast on a farm where I was working there, organic farm. I have never liked white yogurt. As a child, I just didn't like it, I always had to put the marmalade, honey, whatever, it's sweet. But, I got the grains, I got the good milk, and I got yogurt. It's very easy to make. And there will be workshops for it if you like to visit, in a food hacking base and neighbor camp. However, after 2 weeks of kind of eating something because I don't want to dispose it, I actually started to enjoy it. And I can say that now if I don't have something fermented for a few days, I don't like it. I really feel that it's not okay. Even when I start to eat it later on, I feel kind of good feeling, and I am quite pretty sure there is, addiction to it. I believe a good one, but I think it's there. Now, exotic travels. This is something that I do a lot. I am a lot on the road. And I am, meaning Mexico, Cuba, Guatemala, lots of places, Europe, Alaska, I'm really there, and I have a backpack going sometimes for a few days in the middle of nowhere. I have found out, especially in Central America, when I was together with other foreigners, living together, in a house of 8-10 people. They would come from France, Italy, United States, Japan. 1-2 weeks, they're 3-4 days, done. Pain, bad, antibiotics, fine. 3 weeks, okay, maybe 4, done, again. And the same cycles would go around and around. They wouldn't really buy the things on the market. They would just drink the really nice purified water. Whatever you can imagine, they would go for it. I was drinking tap water as basic indigenous people. I would buy whatever I wanted on the market, eat it out, wash. I don't care, I don't really do any adjustments. Every day I would have loads of probiotic beverages and foods. I wasn't as sick one day. And, kind of, if you see around you really 8-10 people kind of in your surrounding, how they are going down as a flies and again, back. It's just kind of, you can see the results. Scientifically proven because, basically you have literature on the internet which you can see. Yeah. Now, so that's something what I wanted to mention, the families. So just you see kind of, lactobacilli, bifidobacteria are the most important. Bifidobacteria group should be, what's up? Oh yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, sorry. Okay. So the thank you. I was just, I thought that you are happy. Bifidobacteria are supposed to actually comprise up to, I think, 80% of the symbiotic bacteria. You have the shape, which is basically the rod shape. They are mostly anaerobic, but they can survive a bit of air, They are eating the sugars. That's kind of mostly the case. We will talk about later on. Everyone has them, basically. From what I have read, it takes, I think, around 5-6 days, less than 10 days, when the newborn baby has the bifidobacteria in their digestive tract. So it's quite pretty fast. And if you have these guys kind of in order, your chances that you will not get, problems are quite pretty high. Another big group is lactobacilli. They do a lot of yogurt fermentation, so that's where you can get them from. The same the kefir. And there are other like Escherichia, some strains. Some they are fine, and Streptococcus, Thermophilus, and others. Also, one of the yeasts, which is proven, Saccharomyces boulardii. Next one. Now, so we said that bacteria, yeast, are living in your large intestine. They feed on what you already don't need, and they are able to be happy, and actually, if things are all right, they make you happy too. Now, how do they do it? They need their energy as you do. You have your digestive enzymes, which I mentioned briefly at the beginning, when we have been going through the stomach and mostly small intestine. There is your digestion happening. And enzymes are a really important part of that because they basically cut your substrates. Let's say, for example, in our case, you will have a molecule of sugars which are more complex, meaning that, for example, you will have 1, 2, 3 molecules of glucose connected together. Well, your enzymes are able to cut it down. So you will get the 3 glucoses from 3 glucose, whatever, and you can use it. You can get it to your bloodstream. In case of bacteria, yeast is the same. To be absolutely honest, I personally think that they are way farther because they can eat nearly anything and they can do nearly anything with it. What they are able to kind of really come with, it's amazing. So they would have enzyme which has, as you see the basics, enzyme is a protein, generally quite small, which will get a substrate. The substrate is specific for the enzyme to its active site, which is here. Once the substrate is in the active site, the enzyme is able to change its structure, and by a reaction is able to basically change the substrate. For example, you can catalyze it, so cut it, to the final product, which you can later on use or further change in a metabolic pathway. The Krebs cycle, glycolysis, where you basically break down the glucose. At the end, you can have the alcohol, so wine making, carbon dioxide, etc. Now, there are, of course, activators, inhibitors. Just shortly, there are substances which can help you and the bacteria to do the reaction faster, more easy, larger quantities, or they will slow it down. The active site we already mentioned. Cofactors are basically another group which can help with the reaction. And the denaturation, I just wanted to mention that enzymes most of the time would be denaturated, let's say, around 40-45 degrees. You have a thermostable enzymes which can go up to 70-80 degrees, but they are not so frequent, just a short period. Now, enzymes are used in signal function. They are used in your muscle contractions, of course, digestive. That's what we talk about. So you can say, in a simple way, that enzyme is a tool. It's a tool of yours and also of bacteria cells to cut down, to create, to build what you need. It's a small, basically, hammer or saw, whatever you like. There are loads of different types. Next one. Now, prebiotics. We said that probiotics are organisms which are helping you to be happy in other way. Prebiotics are substances which are making the organisms happy, proliferate. Now, again, a definition, kind of latest, a probiotic is a selectively fermented ingredient that allows specific changes both in the composition and or activity in the gastrointestinal microflora that confers benefits upon the host's well-being and health. In other words, if we take an example, which I have on the next page, I guess, but we will stay here for now, dietary fiber. Dietary fiber is quite favorite, lots of that. I will ask, does someone here kind of really go a lot for the vegetables, for the fibers that, kind of, could you put the hands on? That you really kind of keep an eye on that, yeah. So few of you kind of, keep an eye on that, that's good. They have basically short oligosaccharides. Inulin would be one of them, but there are many others, which are in this category, meaning that there will be 3 sugar units together. You can eat it. You cannot get anything from it, basically. It's just, constant the nutrition doesn't matter for you. But the bacteria can digest it. So they will be able to split it as you don't. They can. And they will use it in the same way as you use the sugar, glucose, etc. for their benefit. So prebiotic is this thing which actually the bacteria, yeast eat, and you can't. Okay, now, yep. Structure and properties. You can see, again, 3 to 10 carbohydrate monomers. That's roughly, what was defined as the structure. I would like to mention that it was, I think, around 1994, 96, when this concept was created. So it's quite pretty new and, loads of development. They are undigestible for you. That's what I said. Inulin, gluco-oligosaccharides, fructo-oligosaccharides, etc. So basically, fructo-oligosaccharide you will cut to the fructose, which the bacteria can use, and you have a sugar. Now, they have sweetness. That's, is somebody brewing here? Some brewer who would do drinks, alcoholic or non-alcoholic? Okay, Sven, and some others? And you actually too, Betty, you have been brewing in Nicebridge, and there too. Okay, so actually I just realized, recently kind of that you can, in theory, create a beverage which will be sweet, but you will actually not get any sugar, and it will be just, for the bacteria which will kind of live from that. And if you are clever enough, lucky, you can actually brew the beverage by the bacteria which are not able to cut down this sugar, so it will stay there. So they will be there, it will be probiotic, but they will be not able to digest it. So you can, for example, leave your bottle of beverage at room temperature without exploding, because the fermentation will stop, but they cannot go through that. I'm sorry, this is more for the brewers, But later on, you can drink it. It will be sweet, so you don't have to add sugar. You will feel still the sweetness, and still it's probiotic for other bacteria in your intestine. I think great idea, but sorry, it was a little bit specific. Now, that one is kind of clear. Low carcinogenicity, low calorimetric value, and low glycemic index. Basically, you don't get anything, as we said. Dietary fibers are a classic example. On the picture, you can see some of them like brown bread, carrots, some compounds in the fruit, etc. Next one. Now, this slide, it's quite similar to the probiotics. And no surprise, because if you feed properly the probiotic organisms with prebiotics, well, you will get the effects of probiotics. So it's kind of coming together. Increase in feces frequency, nicely said, you will go for the toilet quite often. Sometimes if you have a really wild party when you drink and eat loads of this, it may be actually too often and too fast. Otherwise, it will be quite nice frequency, which is pleasant. Positive effect on growth promotion of intestinal flora, that means the bacteria will be growing fine. They will have a good time. You can see it, for example, on the plants. When if you don't give a good soil to the plants, they will not really prosper. Their leaves can be yellow, kind of. They will be not flourishing nicely. it's a problem. The same basically you can see with the bacteria to a degree. It's just you need to use different kind of things than your eye to realize that. Cancer prevention. This was just tested up to now or proven in animal models. It looks like it's kind of decreasing the amount of the cancer, which is one of our big concerns. So it would be nice to see this developed in a scientific way because, again, in the native cultures, they do it. We are kind of questioning if it's true or not. They are also stimulating the absorption of minerals, which is very important, at least proven. And immunity system, again, kind of it strengthens your immunity system. You are more flexible and you are more able to cope with the things because basically you have loads of kind of input already in your digestion. Now, the infant formula, can you use next slide, Benny, if it's there? Okay, so I didn't talk about it. Okay. Now the breast milk, because I had it on the other slide and I think I forgot. I read a really nice few articles recently, scientific one about breast milk. Human breast milk. I've never realized how complex it is. I just always thought, okay, there is some lactose, there is some protein, and some other things kind of to make the baby happy and to grow, whatever. Now, I went through that a little bit because there was a link, and I found out that from the prebiotic and probiotic point of view, there are around more than 150 prebiotic substances in human breast milk. She's just kind of, they were checking on the cow milk way below human milk, So they did tests, kind of what's going to happen, and they were testing human mothers who were breastfeeding and their kids, and mothers who were not, and using the kind of commercial, the kind of old-time Sunar and, milk, how you say it, milk, formula, basically substitute, milk substitute. So they compared that one, and the third pool would be a new formula, which would include, I think, between 5 to 10 prebiotic substances. So it means, the oligosaccharides, which we cannot digest, but the bacteria can. They have found out, I don't remember exactly the number, that I think there was around 60 to 80%, at least 40 to 60% higher increase in the case of the kids which had a chance to go for the improved formula of the kind of prebiotics including substances compared to the non. So it was really big difference, and another articles clearly link the development of your probiotic flora to, as we went through, increase in your immunity system, increase of or decrease of your allergic reactions, etc., etc. So really important link, and if you realize how many females these days don't breastfeed, that can be really an issue. And you can see why we have such an enormous increase of allergies, for example, with the kids and many other things. It's not the only thing, but, it's starting to show. Can you one more back, Benny, if you don't mind? One of the kind of, just few kind of sources of prebiotics, if you know jicama, very nice for the salt, for example, I had it in San Francisco. It has loads of, prebiotics. Jerusalem artichoke, which is great. You can eat it raw, I do believe. At least I did. I survived, I will talk a bit slower. Sorry, I just again started. Unrafinated wheat, barley, soya beans. There are loads of sources. Can I? Now, live foods, slow foods, and hacker movement. They have lots of things in common, and some not. The common, at least for me, if you want to really understand this properly, you need lots of knowledge. So it's knowledge intensive. You, in these days, need to be innovative because to really kind of, have the probiotic beverages and foods in today's world, it's not as easy to a degree as it was before. The style is different of living, and there are some challenges which we can touch in discussion. It's also logical. It's basically biochemistry, a bit of math, chemistry, kind of, putting your things together. On the other hand, you can go, and that's what I love, completely the other way. You can basically just try to concentrate on your body, what it's saying to you, and you will feel the differences. Probiotic, yes, not. You can go basically through the intuition. It's kind of really, I have it at least after the years, I feel it. I really feel the effect and I can judge, it's hard to explain, and it always brings me the beautiful commercials of the kids, the kids knows what is best for them. Give them the Kinder chocolate, It's kind of a bit on a far side, but for example, when mothers are expecting the babies or future mothers, they really know many times what they need. They know it because the body says. It's the same, when I was, for example, living outside, in the summer, you eat light food. But when the winter comes, or, the autumn, and you are outside and it's starting to be 5-10 degrees of Celsius, you start to crave the fish, fat meat, you need lipids, etc. It's similar with this. Now, another thing, it's new and alternative. I have said it's very old, and it is, there are, basically notes of different beer making in Mesopotamia, Egypt, 3,000-4,000 years before BC. The similar kombucha is probably mentioned 500 BC, in China, Central America, all the fermentation of corn, tamales, tortillas, which are the final products. It's there for eons, We really do it for a long time. Meat was probably discovered maybe 10,000 years, before BC, already pictures sometimes like that, So it's odd. On the other hand, it's also new because, and that's how I like to describe it, the new age, I would say, it's coming. Hacker movement is part of it because, there are it's a group of people who are attracted to the new ideas, new ways of thinking, and seeing the things. And, for example, realizing how you can and what you can do with probiotic organisms, meaning that you can really go to the molecular structure, that you really study deep scientifically the biochemistry, chemistry of the substances that you need, what is it. After that, you connect it through the biochemistry, with the microbes, knowing what they can do with that, combining this together through the technologies that you build up, for example, as I've been trying to do, incubator, which will be able to really give a best conditions to the microbes that they can prosper, they can grow, and do what they are supposed to for you, so you get the best product. All these together with, electronics, knowledge, biotech, that's great. It takes a loads of fields to come together, which is perfect, for example, at Noisebridge, hackerspace in San Francisco, which is amazing. So many brains around, so many diverse things, and they can come together in the same time and create something new. So I really believe this movement, which is ancient, can be really reborn, and we can help with it a lot. And this is what I do basically around the world. I travel, I do presentations, I do workshops, I teach people how to make kombucha, yogurt. I try to basically find out what is in kombucha and yogurt. I try to develop systems which will improve the brewing. I try to help to start the business models, the business projects, which are more or less community-based, small scale, so people can buy it, they can learn how to do it, they can live from that, because this is very important. It's great to have a hobby, but if you can do something what you like as your living, well, that's amazing. That's, for example, what I'm trying now, really do this and be able to support myself and do what I like, because I believe the life is about this, trying to contribute, feeling well. So, the last thing before I run completely away from that slide was we, to a degree, hacker movement, have a mainstream opposition from the government. I just, the other day, last 2-3 months, you can see it nearly every day on the news, phones were hacked. Everything was hacked. That's bad. People, these people are... And after that, you realize, okay, I have never hacked, something that I would really try to, kind of, do something bad to someone, And the friends, who I have and are hackers, I am quite pretty sure most of them, they didn't do anything like that. But for the majority of the population, they are the bad people. Well, I guess, the slow food or brewers kind of type of guys, they are not crazy. Well, they are not bad in the eyes of society. They are kind of crazy. And it's certainly kind of difficult for them to do their things because, I love to eat organic food, which is great. If I can ferment it, amazing. But, the prices are expensive as hell. And to a degree, why they are expensive? Because the small producers, they are not able to make it for a really bigger scale, markets, because they have an opposition based on a free trade, whatever. Oh, sorry, free trade generally, yeah. They can import 1,000 miles of road, a banana from Argentina to Europe. They do the same with the sugars, with other things, and people have a problem to compete, and you don't have a chance really to get your decent price for the living in a community, and you have to be relying on a global system. And this is certainly something what I'm trying to, I wouldn't say a break, but change. The grassroots movement helping really build something what can strengthen the community and make the world and life a better place, because that's, I do believe, what is this about, That really kind of, if you have a kids, you try to do best for them. So do best for you and also for the kids, and I think we can be quite pretty fine, As was to a degree said today or yesterday on the opening presentation, just do something, constructive. Do it with the people and do it in a fine way. Now, this side, Phrase of collaboration. This is just a picture which I put there from my last stay in Mexico. I don't know if you know Zapatistas, which are indigenous people trying to get autonomy from the federal government. Complicated situation. We can go through that to discussion or later on, just talk about that. I have seen kind of, how they still in the really rural areas, use the techniques, of preparation of the food which are ancient. No electricity, basically no running, properly processed water, They just get the harvest, they dry it. When they need it, they get the corn, they steep it, they let it ferment for 2 days, they grind it, they let it ferment for another day, make the tamales, steam it, they eat it. The same with, similar thing with atole. You are there, you are sitting there with the guys who have been in that valley for generations, maybe hundreds of generations. They have been in the local town, maybe once per year. You are there, they hardly know how to read. They have 5, 6, 8 kids, and they are happy. They are sitting there, they don't have a computer, they don't have anything, and they are fine. Just fine. So after that, you start to think, okay, we maybe do sometimes something a little bit wrong, just kind of small impression. The community strengthening through the fermentations and basically slow food movement is big. I have been in Berkeley, where I was involved in a 3 Stone Heart Kitchen project, which is a community business-based model where they prepare basically food which is made from the top ingredients from the area around. So they support the farmers as much as they can. Other, they use fair trade. They make the food and they offer it for price to the people. It works. They are growing steadily for more than 4 years. I was a brewmaster in their project for kombucha, honey cooler, and beet kvass, for example. And I have seen people being able to do what they love in a completely different business model. Basically, people really, it was cooperative, of course, People volunteering to learn how to cook and, improve the life of their families so their families, eat good food, sharing. Later on, getting the jobs in that project because they already knew the people, they were kind of fine, and you see the spark kind of going on, how, it's growing, strengthening, and changing a lot. Because, if you don't spend your money in Lidl or Kaufland, etc., but you spend it on the market, you pay a bit more, hopefully in the future a bit less, we will see. But, the product which you get, it's generally better. And if you realize that actually you gave the money to your neighbor, who are kind of, later on will give you the money or whatever else, to you, instead of, Coca-Cola, whatever, it's a big difference. And it really it will add up at the end. So that's about the fueling of the local economy and of course the sharing, If you have a meal, with your friends, and family, people around, it's amazing. And if it's, chicken from the, which was fed on the garden, really nice hard cider which you did, 2 years ago, and nice cheese, it's really cool, and it's worth of it, the moment living like that, I think it's important. Next. Now, my own moment, we'll fly through that. I am basically now in the stage, still, when I need to observe and learn. I think I will be in that stage to a degree to the end of my life, at least I hope. I am now heading towards Asia, where I would like to learn more. Can I just ask how many minutes do I have? What time? Over, okay, well now should I speed up? Okay. 10 minutes more, okay. So I am traveling, learning, I want to see things happening because I like my hands-on. So I'm trying to help to really push through the projects which I believe can help. Really people, this idea, spread it around. Now, I already have some experience because I'm biotechnologist by the education, and I have lots of years of laboratory experience working in biotech and microbiology. I try to help people to learn how to do it. And also answer some questions. So, the workshops, doing the brewing, going for the markets, where we make the really presentation so people understand. Important part. And of course, I like to build. That's the business models. Now, for example, I'm trying to create a business model which would help people to do this basically as a living. That they have a chance not to do it just at home for fun and for good feeling afterwards, positive effects, but also they can get their bacon to the table. Because I have realized that, for example, in the third world countries, your chance of promoting things like that without incentive, that people will get something from it which is monetary, it's close to the zero. You basically have to pay people to come to your workshops to learn the thing, the technique, the approach, and later on help them to really get something from it. Otherwise, they will not really do it because they don't really have free time. Most of the time, they have so much, things to do, and they cannot afford some funny, shiny thing, on the side. Now, next one piece. By the way, that a picture was of kefir grain, just one of my favorite cultures, Why, when, and how? Or why, when, and how? Sorry. I try to follow the way of Kvasir without actually realizing for many, many years. Kvasir is a mythological figure of the Nordic pantheon. It was a being created from 2 different groups of gods, which was one of the wisest, I think, of Valar, one of the groups of the gods, trying to spread the knowledge, trying to bring the people together through activities, which he did, and trying to promote really well-being around the world. And this thing I have realized it charged me. I have my black corners, and I did lots of things which I wouldn't like to go through again, as I think most of the people. But the general drive, I think in people is to do the good things, to do things properly and bring something what is nicer. Good, good feeling. And this is what I'm trying to do. This is what is driving me. I'm trying to do it every day. I've realized that that kind of circle when you go to the work at home, you just are always on the run, you don't have the time. It's not good. I'm trying to break this through, and I'm quite successful, I think, with that to a degree. And I try, of course, to do with the support because, it's hard to do something without support. I cannot make a shoes, I cannot make my laptop, I need to get things like that somewhere. And I'm trying to contribute that kind of the exchange ratio school, That's kind of what I like, that, both sides are happy. If they are not happy, I'm trying to find someone else who is. Next one. Now, my next stop is Japan. I'm planning to go there quite for a while, already for a year. I tried a few times, always something happened, so it stopped me. I hope now in November, latest, I will be able to go there. And why? I would like to learn more about fermentations because they are amazing. I would like to improve my organization, which is a bit weaker than it should. And I would like to also get more technology to help me, technological skills to help me with these projects because I realize that there are some things which should be done, which are really important. We can, again, talk to it later on. And this is a place, I think, where I can do it. I would like to be there, let's say, for something around a year and a half, so I can really learn Japanese, get to the culture, and be able to do something proper. And of course, I just want to go there, It's, some things, which are hard to explain. You want to do something. Next one. Now, this is a concluding slide. I would like to very much thank to Three Stone Heart Kitchen, which is a project in Berkeley which helped me to learn an enormous amount of things, not just about making the beverages on a commercial scale, but mostly about community and kind of cooperative run place, where people work together. They are kind of on a similar level or same level, sharing the things and doing the things very differently and still being able to do them. And Noisebridge. Noisebridge, if you have a chance to go to San Francisco for longer, go, get involved, and enjoy it. It's really amazing place. I have to say that there are many Noisebridges around, which are really great. You should talk to them and have a good time learning something from one of the top, I think, hackerspaces on the world. Now, my time is over. I don't know if you have time for discussion or not. However, I would like to thank you for the time which you spent here. I hope that you bring something with you. I would like to invite you to a party tonight which is happening in a neighbor village where we will prepare different food hacking food and beverages. And, of course, also for workshops. We are running as a food hacking base at a neighbor village, Hackers on the Plane, different workshops on sushi, kvass making, Indonesian cuisine, etc. So please check the wikis, come, and once more, thank you very much. I hope to talk to you later on, and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, František, for your talk.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, please line up next to the microphone. Or if there's something coming in from the internet, just go
you want to microphone, I think? I'm sorry. Sorry? What do you think about microbiotics? To be absolutely honest with you, I haven't been touching microbiotics too much up to now. It's microphone still on? Yeah. What I went really through the food up to now was basically the biochemistry, because I'm biotechnology, so I was trying to kind of go through the structures of the things to see kind of the, bounce, energy which can be, get out of it. Bit of combination, like really for vegans especially, but everyone, if you eat something, it's a really great idea if it has lipids, fats, sugars, and protein all in one time. That, you know, if you eat just a sugar, you get a sugar rush. The sugar goes in your body, it's a big challenge. But if you eat it together with olive oil, as lots of vegans and other people do, it will go more slowly and it's less kind of strain on the body. So constant microbiotics, you know, I don't know really too much about it by reading, you know. I guess I will know some things because of my experience in other areas, but I haven't been going through that too much. So sorry for that. Yeah, you're welcome. But everybody who would like to talk more, I guess, you know, they can talk to you. Milliways, right? Milliways. You are in Milliways. The town where you are, Milliways? Yes, yeah. So you can find him in Milliways and you can have a conversation about that. Well, you know, we have very good person in Evina. She will tell you more in our project. She is vegan and she is very interested in things like that. Yeah?
I raised 2 kids macrobiotically.
Okay.
And if you would like to go to Japan, and that is quite a big project, maybe you can first come to Amsterdam. There is quite a big macrobiotic community and school there. They also have a factory for making amasake, which is fermented rice product, and you can go there and learn those processes there. They also have a lot of other products like tempeh and soy sauce and miso that they make themselves, and then you can learn to do that there.
Yeah, thank you.
I basically came here wondering why corn silage, for example, is a staple of food for cattle but not for humans, and maybe you can shed some light on that.
So, sorry, once more?
Corn silage. You know, silage like, for example, of corn, you have a lactic acid fermentation of corn.
Yes.
Farm staple for almost cattle, pigs, biogas plants also.
Well, concerning corn, you know, I went through that a little bit when I was in Central America and after Northern America, because what I have found, and if I remember exactly, basically the major problem is that the corn has a lot of nutritive value. It's fine if you are able to process it properly. There's a process which is called a nixtamalization, which means basically that you open the structure with addition of calcium, and after that, you will know as microbiotic about it more, you are able, I think our vitamins B, to basically get them. If you don't do this step, which happened in the United States when the Mexicans came to the United States and they were fed by Americans by corn, which was not processed properly, you will have serious kind of troubles later on, especially in the case of kids. So if the kind of answer is corn, it's great if you know how to work it. The most simple way is, at least to my knowledge, add the corn, steep it, and after that boil it with calcium-based product. It can be even the pieces of egg, because they have calcium in it. We'll open the structure, and later on when you eat it, it should have enough nutritive value, kind of, you know, which you need to a degree, of course. You know, eat just the corn would be probably not very good for whole life, you know. So did I answer the question a bit? Because I am not sure that I understood completely, you know.
Okay, my question was basically, well, I was mostly thinking about corn silage, but
corn cider?
Silage.
Oh, silage, yeah.
Yes, like you have like you see at every farm the silage.
Yeah.
Plant. This specific procedure, and it's also used for grass or for other cereals, wheat and so on.
One thing what I can certainly, you know, imagine it's helping with, and I have to say I have been going through the kind of this type of fermentation by myself because it's a bit out of my kind of human interest now. It preserves. Kind of, you know, the advantage of that for sure can be that it preserves basically the content. Because, for example, with the sauerkraut in case of the people, if you make a sauerkraut, you ferment basically the kraut, which has different poly sugars with bacteria, which are able to digest it to a degree, and which are having as an end product lactic acid, and many times other acids too. These acids are able to preserve the food, so lots of other organisms are not able to touch it. They are not able to eat it, you know. So that's an advantage in a degree. To be absolutely honest, you know, I'm just thinking kind of what the lactic acid really could, you know, kind of help you with directly, you know. I'm not sure. You know, lactic acid will be, I guess, one of the end products in both cases. The really positive effect of lactic acid on your health, I haven't run through that yet. I should check, you know. But certainly as a preservation, great thing. That's really kind of working very well. Be careful, most of the sauerkraut still in these days, you know, are not done the traditional way, by fermentation, but by adding vinegar. So forget it. And one thing which I found recently, vinegar is acid, and as an acid, to a degree, it takes actually calcium, and probably not just calcium, from your bones. You can feel, for example, if you drink wine which is not very good, your teeth, white wine especially, can get very sensitive. That's what's happening to a degree. So just kind of, you know, be careful about vinegars, you know, too much consumption of vinegars, it's not a very good idea. Just, you know, train of thought. Someone else? Nope.
Okay, so thank you for attending, all of you.
Yeah, thank you.